Generational clash coming up at bantamweight this weekend. We have American Top Team and Team Constrictor's own Rani Yahya, 2007 ADCC champion. I'm talking about the ledge, and he's going to be welcoming Quik Montel Jackson into the UFC's octagon. And I said this a little bit last weekend. We had Ed Herman, Zach Cummings, and it was a great fight. And both guys got $50,000 as a bonus. But with these aging legends, a lot of MMA fans these days, they don't care about the history. They just don't. It's not like baseball. Baseball right now has a show headlined by Carlos Pena going to Cooperstown and talking about relics of times past.
Can I offer a bit of a rebuttal, though?
Go for it.
MLB doesn't make their aging veterans take it at bat against the person who just won a Cy Young, and that's unfortunately what the UFC does. The UFC loves nothing more than taking your childhood hero and making them fight the next up-and-coming prospect on their way. Well, that's the biggest difference between the two.
You don't have to shout about it, but for Rani Yahya, his pro debut was in April of 2002. Matt was 3 years old when that happened.
I'm imagining Derek Jeter trying to take it at bat against modern-day Garrett Cole.
Rani Yahya, 5th degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Again, 65 kilogram 2007 ADCC champ. But you look at it, 13-4-1 with a no contest in the UFC. He came in fighting Mike Brown and beat him. Mike Brown, now Rani Yahya's coach. Like, it's just been crazy to see how Yahya has been able to stick around. He's had a lot of injuries and long layoffs. His 5-on-in almost extends back 5 years ago when he beat Luke Sanders. He has a loss to Ricky Simone, who was able to kind of control with the wrestling and the striking. He has a weird majority draw against Enrique Barzola, where first round, Yahya, second round, Yahya, third round,
not Yahya.
Barzola 10-8'd him easily. And then Yahya's last two performances, he beats Ray Rodriguez, early submission win. And his last time out, beats Kyung Ho Gong, where Rani was on Beach Street in the first round. He was able to rally back really well. And when I look at Rani Yahya fights, I can go down through the history. I can go down through the guys that he's faced. He had a fight of the night, WEC title fight against Chase Beep. But when you look at him out for Rani Yahya and you consider all of these, the submission of the night bonuses he had over at WEC, all the wins he has with the UFC, he's at his most strong in that first round.
8 years ago?
When he's walking you down and he's landing those big hooks to get a takedown. He really is reminiscent of a Damian Maia in his fight style. And as the fights go along, usually the power bar depletes, the takedowns get more labored, albeit against Kyung Ho Gong. Early second round takedown, and he controlled on the mat, and he was able to get that backpack and just threaten with rear naked choke. Third round, he was able to do more of the same, and that was a little bit of a surprise because we know that Kyung Ho Gong is pretty good on the ground. He's not Rani Yahya, but he is pretty slippery. Montel Jackson, before he switched over to pro MMA, had his mind set on going to the Olympics for wrestling, and in 2013, when the IOC said, we're done with this wrestling thing, Montel Jackson switched it over into MMA. Matt, 7 fights in the UFC. How many knockdowns does Montel Jackson have?
9.
He's got 7. So a lot of knockdowns for Montel Jackson.
It's a tough fight for Rani.
A very big power puncher, but sometimes he gets stuck in compromising positions with his grappling.
But he's not a bad grappler, though. And that's the thing. Montel's not a guy who we've seen get convincingly out-grappled for long periods of time. Yes, he's been stuck in positions, and if you get stuck in those positions against a guy like Rani, he'll probably finish them. But
yeah, you were right. I made a mistake. Last 5 fights for Montel Jackson, 9 knockdowns. 9 of them.
Look at your boy.
9 of them.
This is my problem with Rani Yahya. He can win this fight by first round submission, and then I think he's getting the break speed off him for a lot of it, because his power bar does deplete as the fight goes on, and not just with his striking, which a lot of people associate with kind of your power bar depleting. His takedowns become a lot less effective, and his grappling becomes a lot less effective too. So if he can slip some of those early boxing combinations of Jackson, get him to the mat, get his back, and submit him, maybe it could happen in the opening 90 seconds. But Jackson has legit power that hurts guys as the fight progresses, and he has power from the opening minute to the last minute of a fight. And that's the thing about Jackson too. Normally we look at prospects, and if they don't get a lot of finishes earlier on in their career, especially their UFC career, it might not be looked at as a positive thing. I'm really high on Javid Basharat, but he's winning all of his fights by decision. It'd be nice to see him get a finish at a certain point. With Montel, I kind of look at it in a bit of a different light, at least in this matchup. Yes, it would be nice for him to go out there and get more finishes, but what? Ronnie's the guy that could take advantage of his gas tank, and if Montel can just hurt him early, avoid the big actions of Ronnie, and then finish him late, I could see that being a game plan.
Montel Jackson was Brett John's payday with Bellator, just like, you had Karol Rosa taking on Sarah McMahon. But Jackson, out of the 2 fights that he's lost in the UFC, to Ricky Simone and Brett Johns landed 8 takedowns, Ricky Simone landed 7. So the takedown defense for Jackson isn't at the forefront of his game. He's got great offensive takedowns in his own right. It can set up his jiu-jitsu. It's problematic against a guy like Rani Yahya, but the striking differential for Jackson, 3.39 landed per minute to 1.40 absorbed. It's crazy that way. 6-2 in the UFC. He's been favored in every single fight, and he's been more than a 500 favorite on 4 occasions against JP Beige, Jesse Strader, Felipe Clarish, and Andre Sukumtoth. He won all of those fights. He's in that pantheon in this fight against Rani Yahya. Again, the legend. Rani Yahya fought Kid Yamamoto, Mark Hominick, Eddie Wineland, and Joseph Benavidez before Yahya was in the UFC.
Been there, done that.
Rani Yahya, in the year of our Lord, 2023, as the saying goes, is getting called out by Cody Garbrandt. Weak sauce, my guy, on MMA Junkie. But Matt, when you look at this one, Jackson's a big favorite. Yahya is a pretty big underdog. You have a look at the Tapology votes. I'm going to say over under 95% Montel Jackson.
Under, but very high.
It breaks my heart. 88% of the fans going Jackson, 48% by knockout. For the 12% that have Yahya, 54% by submission, 32% by decision out of 28 pro victories. Like, he has over 20 submission wins. Rani Yahya, he's going to take your arm home. He's going to take the back. He's going to get it done. But when I look at a matchup like this, I think Jackson has all of the strengths. I think Jackson gets the win with his strike. And I think he drops Yahya and breaks my damn heart. I'm one of those old heads with the Leonardo Santos.
Is he going to Taio Cruz you? He's only going to break your heart?
Yeah. And then just go out with a whimper and never make more big songs. Become a big producer.
I throw my head. Taio Cruz has some bangers now that I'm thinking of it.
For a short stretch.
I have Montel Jackson, though, in this matchup, without a doubt.
All right, Matt. Both of us going with Montel Jackson in this one. If you have a look at it, it's got to be awkward for both guys. They're probably walking through the halls with sunglasses, seeing Ricky Simone out there, picking up wins over them. So a big-time matchup. Matt Simone's taking on Sung Yadong in the co-main event. Main event, Pavlovich Blaydes. You're not going to want to miss. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.